Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about the latest from Abysmal Dawn, Nightmare Frontier, out February 4th on Season of Mist. This EP has 4 tracks, 19 minutes in length, and this is the band's first ever EP. They are an American death metal band. Now you're going to get 4 songs, 2 of them are original, 2 are covers, but all 4 of them are very different from one another. There's no 2 songs that sound, feel, or are remotely alike. There's a lot of diversity, there's a lot of different sides of what Abysmal Dawn can do with their sound represented in this EP. They went outside the box, they made an eclectic record that allows them to spread their wings and be as creative as they want to be, with having absolutely no restrictions to what they can make. So let's start off with the first opening track, A Nightmare Slaying, a song that's really interesting because it brings traditional death metal, it brings melodic death metal, and it brings progressive death metal all to the table, allowing the track to be very dynamic, to have a lot of life, both musically and vocally. There's an opening riff that's very melodic that becomes the signature sound of the entire song. And I love the fact that it weaves in and out. So sometimes this track is starting to move towards more a traditional death metal sound, becoming really heavy and robust with a lot of volume. That riff comes in, brings it back into a much different place. The sound becomes a lot brighter. The song becomes a lot lighter in that melody that it holds. And then that melody starts to go away. The brutality comes in, the heaviness comes in, and the song starts to weave itself again. And this happens throughout the entire track from beginning all the way to the end. The same movement that you see musically, you're also going to see vocally. It's a very dynamic track as well, really stretching out. So this allows the song to have movement on both ends, not just musically, but vocally. Really important in order to create a sense of direction for the listener. The solo sections bring in the progressive side. They bring in the progressive death metal sound, perhaps more in the second solo than in the first one, but it's really present in both. And it was an interesting approach because it gave the song a little bit more texture, it gave the song more depth, it made the song feel complete, more robust. It expanded the track, and all of it worked really well in the overall design, in the overall sound, and in the overall execution that this track puts forward. So while having different pieces of perhaps different puzzles, somehow they found a way of bringing them all together and still have a clear image of what this track is all about. Next you have Blacken the Sky, a more traditional death metal song through and through, both musically and vocally. More methodic, heavier, the drums are super heavy on this track, and then the guitars really pack on, add a few pounds into that heaviness, making the song feel relentless at times, really brutal. And the vocals the same thing, very consistent in the approach from start to finish. So it's a song that moves in one direction. It moves with heaviness, it moves with intent, but always in a linear path. It's not as dynamic as its predecessor was, but still a great death metal song that has a lot to offer, with a very traditional death metal solo in it that really completes the track, that brings everything together. And I really enjoyed the solo because it added flair to a song that up until that point just felt like it was moving with all heaviness and really nothing much else around it. Next you have Behind Space, an In Flames cover, and this is where things start to get interesting. This In Flames cover is phenomenal. It's going on my playlist immediately. I love what they did here. They kept a lot of the original DNA in terms of what this song is all about. The melody of the track is still there. The way it moves, it's still there. All the bends, all the movement, the dynamic approach that the original track had, this one has it as well. The difference here is that they turn the knob all the way to 11, increasing the heaviness of the sound, increasing the heaviness of the vocals, the overall approach, making the overall track still be very melodic, but be more brutal when it had to be brutal. When it had to be heavy, this song really becomes pounding. But on the other hand, you have the melodic drive that still stays there, that still allows you to see this track for what it really is, a cover that's done in a magnificent way. Next we have Bewitched, a Candlemass cover. Now this one was a home run, and it blew my mind. I honestly didn't know what to think about this song when I was listening to it. I actually had to look at my phone to make sure I was listening to the right track and it belonged to this EP. Not necessarily from a sound perspective, but more so vocally. But the sound of this song is really interesting because the guitars have this incredible fuzz to them that just really brings to life the sound of Candlemass. When I think of Candlemass, I think of fuzziness on the guitars, and this song has it. So I love the fact that they kept that there. They still made the song feel heavier. They still added their own DNA to the track in terms of how it sounds, in terms of how it moves, how the instruments coming together. But keeping that fuzziness there was so cool musically. It allowed you to immediately connect with the original while still feeling like you're listening to a brand new song for the first time. Now, vocally is where things went a little bit where I wasn't expecting them to go. I was expecting harsh vocals. I was expecting them to turn this into a much different track and go down a much different path. Having the clean vocals surprised me. They worked really well. They were actually better than what I thought the first time that they came in. I was like, ooh, I'm not sure if I'm going to be sold on this. But the clean vocals actually worked well because they added a sense of darkness to this song. Musically, the song has so much heaviness, but vocally I felt like it wasn't heavy anymore. The clean vocals added that doom vibe that the original has. They added that darkness to this song and made this track feel a little bit more complete from that perspective. They still sprinkled in some harsh vocals in the chorus as backing vocals, and it works really well because now you have more depth. The chorus feels a little bit better, feels a little bit more compact, feels a little bit bigger, matching the overall sound, the robust nature of sound that the track has from start all the way to finish. What an interesting cover, one that I wasn't expecting at all. This is it, Abysmal Dawn with Nightmare Frontier, out February 4th on Season of Mist. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.